Insert the fabric into the binder. I prefer to use the optional AccuFeed Flex Straight Stitch Foot HP2 on my Horizon 15000. Pull several inches to the back. Insert the middle of the quilt edge into the binder. Pull the quilt to the back, keeping the edge snugly against the binder. This will align the binding with the edge of the quilt so that you'll be able to start stitching with an even edge. Stitch to the corner and cut the thread. Pull several inches of binding to the back of the machine. Turn the fabric over and fold in the corner. Pin in place. Turn to the right side, fold in the corner and pin in place. Carefully pull the binding fabric all the way back to the edge of the binding attachment. Check that the binding is even. Pull the quilt towards the back until the needle is aligned with the edge of the corner. Lower the needle to hold the edges in place and remove the pins. Stitch to the next corner. On the final side, stop about 6 to 8 inches from where you started stitching. Remove from the machine. Remove the binding attachment. Trim one end of the binding near the middle of the opening. Fold back the other end of the binding, leaving about 1/8 inch gap between the two edges. This end will be trimmed to the width of the binding. Measure from the folded edge the width of the binding. You can use a scrap of binding for this measurement. Cut off the excess binding. Place the ends right sides together. Turn one edge 45 degrees and match the edges. Pin diagonally across the end. Make sure that you have 2 loose triangles on the outside edge. This will assure that you've pinned in the correct direction. Stitch and check to make sure it fits and lays smoothly along the edge. Trim the edges. Fold the edges of the binding to match the stitched sections. Pin in place and stitch the remaining edge. Stitch in place and stitch the remaining binding. Once you use this attachment, you'll see why it's one of my favorite accessories.